Okay. All righty. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you all for making some time and joining us here today. My name is Helena Schwartz. I'm the Executive Director of Build Together, which is an organization that's working to conduct a nationwide listening tour, building momentum for strategic public investment in transportation infrastructure projects across the country, lifting up the dynamic coalition behind these investments so that eventually we can all come together and finally get the job done, right? We've all been talking infrastructure long enough. The running joke in DC, right? It's always infrastructure week, but it's time that we finally get it done, right? And truthfully, we've gone state by state, and there's one project that's really stood out for us that we're so excited to just sing its praises and tell anyone that we can, and that's the Lexington train station. It's among the most powerful examples that we've come across of a project that's capable of directly and immediately boosting a local community and its surrounding economy, from downtown retail to highly skilled engineering workforce, a cidery, a brewery, and I'll tell you, I mean, we had planned and hoped to all get together in person, right, at the brewery. I think we had planned and hoped. And wish that we could have done that. Obviously, you know, we're not able to do that this year, but hopefully next year, maybe, you know, we can take the train in town and maybe cut a ribbon, and then I'll share a beer or hit that barbecue festival that I keep hearing about. So we've got our fingers crossed. But nonetheless, thank you all for joining us here for this virtual discussion today. So pleased that we were able to put it together as we have. The focus today will be discussing the potential benefits of this project in particular among a group of dynamic community stakeholders, which you all are members of that community, so thank you. The Lexington train station project demonstrates the potential for targeted investment in rail infrastructure to unlock community benefits, connect local residents to good jobs and opportunity, and spur positive regional growth across the board. It's our goal today to facilitate a timely discussion about the city's vision for the train station as the U.S. DOT considers the project for a federal grant. That announcement should be coming soon. Definitely this year, but hopefully soon, and maybe we can get some updates on that here today as well. I'll try to roll through this quickly. We've got many participants here today, so I'll kind of tick through that list here in a second, but first definitely want to applaud the mayor. Uh-oh, I think I'm hearing some amplification. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. Definitely want to applaud Mayor Clark and the City of Lexington for all their hard work behind this proposal in particular. I know it's been many years in the making. Also definitely want to thank Stephanie Blair from Senator Tillis's office for joining us today. Obviously, she and the Senator have their hands full these days, as does Congressman Budd. Definitely want to thank you, Congressman, for your leadership on this project, a longstanding leader on the project. I know you also have a full plate these days, so thank you for making time with us here today. And a special thanks to Kyle Bridges of your team as well, just a phenomenal staffer. We wouldn't have been able to put this together today without him. And also I similarly must thank Lauren Dart on my staff, who also worked alongside Kyle and Tammy as well to make this happen. So thank you all so much. Tick through our stakeholders and participants here today. You all are a true testament to the benefits that can be realized through an investment like this at every level. So just a big thank you. First, we've got Michael Fox, who's the chairman of the North Carolina Board of Transportation, Representative John Torbett, member of the North Carolina General Assembly, and also chairman of the House Transportation Committees. Very pleased to have you here with us, sir. Representative Larry Potts as well, so pleased to have you. Representative of City of Lexington in the North Carolina General Assembly. We've got Representative Steve Jarvis as well. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Jarvis represents Davidson County in the General Assembly. Also got Michael Smith, the President and CEO of Charlotte City Partners. Joe Wallace, President and CEO of the Lexington Area Chamber of Commerce. Joe Bose, Senior Vice President for Government Affairs at the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance. And from the City of Lexington, of course, we're pleased to have the dynamic Mayor Newell Clark and Business Development Director Tammy Absher Huge thanks to both of you for making this happen here today. Your leadership on the project and overall, just we know you're a true champion for these local businesses and advocates here today. So just a big thanks. Again, a few more here. I'll try to speed through these. We're also fortunate to have several local business voices of Lexington represented here today, which we love. Our Build Together organization loves that because you know, we need the business community to step up too, because these targeted public investments can really spur that private sector investment and growth as well. So to have you all here with us and at the table moving this project along is so meaningful. First, thank Jared Jobs, CFO with Egger Wood Products, a great company there that's just growing in Lexington. John Clowney, Bull City Cider Works, Brent and Ashley Moore, Goose and Monkey Brew House. Again, guys, wish we could have been at the cidery or the brew house with you today, but hopefully another time. And Bill Patterson, we have joining us, who's the Executive Vice President for Richard Childress Racing. So just a big thanks to each of you for lending your voice behind this project and joining us here today. Finally, I'm almost done. We're so pleased to have Brent Manning, who's the manager of the Southeastern region of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce with us here today, who's a great champion for these investments as well and their impacts for communities like Lexington. He'll say a few words in just a few moments. But first, just a few housekeeping items here for everyone to keep in mind. We have set aside time at the end of the program, our formal presentation, for an informal discussion and Q&A. So if you all want to participate, just if you could remember, of course, mute yourself in the meantime. I'm sure this isn't your first Zoom, but then use the hand raise function here, and the mayor will acknowledge your question or your comments when our time allows at the very end. So just go ahead and raise your hand there, and we'll get you queued up towards the end of the discussion. And with all that said, Brent, if I can turn it over to you at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce to get our conversation started.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you, Helena, for allowing me to join you in this outstanding group today. And a big thanks to Build Together for making this happen. You and Lauren Dart are doing some awesome work in advocating for America's infrastructure. Also, the leadership in Lexington, led by Mayor Clark, has been outstanding. Your push for the train station project, when completed, will result in a huge boost to the Lexington business community and surrounding areas. Small businesses will grow and jobs will be created once we're able to cross that finish line. At the U.S. Chamber, during these wild times that seem to change by the minute, we've been focused on 3 infrastructure priorities. First, the immediate goal is to ensure state DOTs and transit agencies receive adequate funding in the next COVID relief bill to allow them to maintain operations and construction projects. 2, we desperately need action on a long-term surface transportation authorization. We've been asked by Chairman Barrasso to continue to push for Senate action. And 3, if a long-term surface transportation bill is unable to be enacted by September the 30th, we need Congress to not allow the programs to expire. We also believe a 1-year extension, as included in the House-approved H.R. 2, would provide states with a certainty to ensure a full construction program next year. There remains a lot of work to do, and this is an important week for congressional action on infrastructure. But with the strong impact of Congressman Budd and the impressive push by your local leaders, I believe we will start to see some of these important projects come online. So again, thank you for having me, and I look forward to the rest of this awesome program.
Sorry about that, taking myself off mute here. There we go. And now I believe we've got, we're turning things over to the mayor to lead the discussion. Mr. Mayor, can I hand it off to you?
Yes, Helen, thank you.
Wonderful.
Can everyone hear me okay? All
yes,
right.
Sir.
Excellent. And I would be remiss, and I would thank everyone for the comments of my leadership and commitment to this, but there's so many folks on this call. Mr. Potts, I can't thank you enough, sir. You've been there as a commissioner and now as a representative, helping us in so many ways, and even bringing dollars to help with the improvements there. Congressman, and I remember our very first meeting in my office, and you said, "Tell me about Lexington." And I think I pulled out a little ring binder and said, "Let me tell you about this one project." And and we started talking about it from day one. And I think you walked out of there, it's like, holy cow! And we'd already been working on it for quite a few years at that point. But again, I cannot thank you enough for the support that you've given our staff and direction. And thank you so much, sir. And there's so many, I could go down the list. Representative Potts as well. Thank you, sir. And the business owners that are on the call, Mr. Patterson, Bill Patterson, good friend of mine, but a wonderful champion for this community, and RCR. Thank you, sir. And Gerald from Edgar, thank you, sir, for Edgar's commitment, and Michael and Fritz Edgar, the family's commitment to Lexington and Davidson County. And then your support, as well as understanding the importance of passenger rail as the partnership between passenger rail and freight rail. Edgar can speak very positively to that. But Mr. Clowney, John, thank you for being on as well. And I see Brent and Ashley again. I can't thank you enough. This is one of our, you talk about dynamic business, but talk about two dynamic folks. They are committed to Lexington. They've made a major family investment, and right before pre-COVID, but they haven't backed off at all. They're still completely committed, and they're a great example. And I'll share this with everyone as we go, of their example of the local investment we're already making that is here. So I'm going to jump in real quick. Again, I could go through the list of everyone on here and explain how much you've helped, and thank you. But just, I want to give everyone kind of a picture of when we talk about the Lexington Rail project, what that actually looks like. And Tammy Absher is bringing up some images that you can all kind of see there. This rendering that you see, this is our vision. This is a multimodal station. I think that's important that folks, we talk about a train station and people think train. This is multimodal transportation, starting with passenger rail, but you see buses, taxis, biking, pedestrians. This is about 1/4 mile from the center of our town. Our town square is just 1/4 mile from here. Our main street in Lexington, we're very proud of this. We've been working well over 20 to 25 years to create a wonderful, welcoming community. And our main street currently has about a 4% vacancy on the ground floor. And we're very proud of that. But we're also starting to see living take place. We're starting to see loft apartments being built. Down in our depot district, there are some apartments that are being built as well. And I mentioned before some of the local investments that's already taken place around where we are talking about placing this depot. In that image that you see a center loaded platform there. That was the kind of original vision, but with our partners with North Carolina Rail and Norfolk Southern, the plan is to do a side loaded platform on either side. So did want to point that out. Again, wonderful partnerships with both of those entities and working together. And, sometimes you have a vision, but you got to talk to the folks on the ground that really know how to make this work. And so the image you see is a center loaded platform, but we're talking about a side loaded platform that we'd be putting in place. The interesting piece as well, and I'm going to share this with everyone. Everyone always talks about the chicken or the egg, and which one came first. And that's been a big question for us is, well, do we work and try to create the station and then try to develop, or do we start developing and hope we get a station? And I've kind of taken a mantra, and we play with this at City Hall, the chicken or the egg. It doesn't really matter. Both of them are a sense of protein, so let's eat. So, and what I mean by that is we have been committed and working on this project for well over a decade as a community to connect us as a smaller community to the larger metro areas. And in doing that, we've had the local investment of a cidery brewery. Bull City Cider has moved the majority of their production down to Lexington, and they occupy about 60,000 square feet of an old furniture factory. Ashley and Brent Moore that we spoke of earlier, they have opened the Goose and Monkey Brew House, and they're occupying some old space that was in the furniture factory as well, and completely converted that. Beautiful roll-up doors. It is something to see. And folks a lot of times think they're not even in Lexington, but it's down by the location of where we'd like the depot. It's within eyesight of our farmers market, which has grown through the years and continues to be a wonderful treat on Wednesdays and Saturdays as the crowds continue to grow there. And we have a public-private partnership that was created with the Breeden family, and we created the Breeden Insurance Amphitheater, and that is a wonderful venue now. We're not occupying it during COVID, of course, but prior to that, we were having close to 14 or 15 events a year. This amphitheater can seat close to 5,000, and they're bring your own seat, bring your blanket, and we've had events as small as a couple hundred and as large as several thousand that have been occupying that space. All of this I share with you is within literally eyesight or even blocks of where we're wanting this depot to go. And a big part of that as well, Senator Burr told us, gosh, this has probably been 8 years ago when we actually had him here taking a look at the project and the thought. And he mentioned, you know, create a destination. And that is something that we've clearly done and continue to do. Again, we're less than a quarter of a mile away from the center of our community where we have a wonderful uptown, but we know folks are coming here, and you can see the image that Tammy just brought up. There you see our Main Street at night. You see some of the outdoor cafes. One of the anchor stores that we have here, Conrad Hinkle, has celebrated well over 100 years of being in business, and they're in our town center there at the square. You see the loft apartments on part of that image as well. That's going on. So a lot of wonderful activity taking place in our uptown area. So it's a matter of blending the two. But I share this with you because we're doing our part locally in terms of working and developing and growing the area and not just waiting on a depot to happen. We know that with the depot, this can only grow, but I think it's important that everyone on the call understand our commitment to this region. Because if you look on the North Carolina rail line, one of the largest gaps is between High Point and Salisbury. And Lexington, of course, sits right in the middle of that gap where there's no stop. But, and you'll see that on your map that Tammy just brought up for us. And that is extremely important from the standpoint of we have a major highway, which is rail, that runs right through our county and right through our town. And there's no way for us to get on it or off it. And if I-85, which it does, it runs through Davidson County and Lexington, and there's numerous interchanges. If there was not an interchange on I-85, I can guarantee you I would be in the governor's office every single day. Mr. Potts would be right beside me, and we'd be screaming and yelling that we want to connect to this. And this is something that's important. We have a major highway that runs through our county, and we can't get on it or off it. And the only way we do that is by traveling to another county. And if we are establishing rail here, we understand the importance of what this means over in Moxville in Davie County. We know what this means in Randolph County to Asheboro. All of a sudden, these smaller communities have access now to rail in less than a 20-minute commute. And also for Winston-Salem, which is not along this rail line at all. And I've had numerous offline conversations with Mayor Joins about when we get our depot, we want to connect to your community. And is that a shared shuttle service? So a lot of behind the scenes work and planning and talking. And when this happens, where do we continue to extend? Because for us in this central Piedmont region, particularly for Lexington, we know this is going to be a hub for the region. And we're excited about that. So it's not just the Lexington community. When Congressman Budd, and I think, as we've said, he's been extremely supportive of this. I mean, he gets it. He understands the importance of what this means to his entire district. And I think that's why you see our partnership and working together and Representative Potts and Jarvis and everyone pushing for this to happen. And that is kind of giving you the location of where we're talking about and the importance of this as a city. But not only that, there's a couple pieces that as we working towards our Build and Chrissy grant applications that we've already submitted, we've also in that plan, we're looking at rail improvements. We have a couple at grade crossings that we know need to be taken care of. we have the line kind of has a simple curve in it, and we want to make sure that we are addressing all of those safety issues. And it's not just about, you know, how great and what this is going to mean to the region and economic development, but it's also about as we work towards acquiring passenger rail, you'll see here this little walkway that's kind of naturally happened. This is a kind of a little pedestrian crossing that people have been using, and we know that it's important for us to take these into consideration and make those improvements. So not only are we talking about how we access rail, but what does it mean for the safety of the community that's there? Edgar is a new company that's opened in Davidson County, just outside of Lexington, and they're making a major investment into this region. They're drawing their workforce from probably 12 different counties. And you can see there up to the top right, that's an image of what they're currently building in Davidson County. The image on the left is their rendering for their North American headquarters. Again, I think that's important for the region to understand. They're not just building a factory here. This is their headquarters. Their corporate offices will be here for North America, and we're excited to have them here. But it also means something for them as they look for a specific workforce, and the need for that workforce to be able to have their workforce commute into Lexington is just another added bonus for their commitment. As a European company, they clearly understand passenger rail. And then of course that relationship that they have with Norfolk Southern as a freight line that is also going to be using multiple carts. They're in the process now of Norfolk Southern, and Edgar is creating a rail spur that'll connect to them, and they'll be running numerous cars out of there daily. And it's, again, this passenger rail is an exciting piece to connect with that. One of our other larger employers that we have in our region is Mr. Childress. I mentioned Bill Patterson is on the line right now, but in a conversation I've had with Mr. Childress, he talks about commuting his workforce up from Concord, Kannapolis, Charlotte area, and in the past they've sent passenger vans down to pick up their workforce. And what this would mean for him to be able to have work here in Lexington. It's a game changer for him as a large employer for this region. And again, he's been a big supporter, supplying letters of support for all of our grants. And I give him a pretty regular update just to let him know kind of where we're at in the process. And he has been a strong supporter of us in this acquisition of rail here. It's the dream is one thing, and I want to just kind of share this with everyone on the line, and we're going to, I know, hear from other folks as well. But when we talk to some of our surrounding larger cities, whether this first started in one of the first meetings I even attended, Michael Smith from Charlotte Intercity Partners, we met down at our architect's office in Charlotte, and Hugh McCall was also there, and we were just learning from these gentlemen of how do you change and rebuild a downtown. And it's obvious we've seen what Charlotte has done with their light rail and the use of rail and connectivity. And that's a big part for us as a smaller community. If we're not the job center, where do we connect to allow our citizens in Richmond? How do they visit them in DC? This is another connective part of that. It's pretty difficult on a Saturday for a mayor to be down at a farmer's market and you see the wonderful passenger rail go by and people sitting on that train, and I'm always thinking they're sitting on their wallets and they have no way to get them here. And it's important that we connect to that. I know you've heard me say it numerous times, but the other piece is, and we've shown this year after year, we conduct the single largest one-day festival in the Southeast. And that one-day festival is the Lexington Barbecue Festival. And it's well over 150,000 folks come to our community. And there's an image of our square. Most folks would look at that and think, well, that's a pretty big festival. That's just the square. This is 10 city blocks, and every single block looks like that. And it is basically us paying homage to our heritage of slow pit cooked barbecue. And it's amazing to see the folks that come here. On this day is the only day the train stops in Lexington, and it's coming from Raleigh, it's coming from Charlotte, and they have multiple stops that day. And every year the riderships continue to grow. And but we've shown that we can be successful in accepting folks, and well as preparing them to travel out of our community as well. But the barbecue festival, at times you can Google Lexington and they actually show an Amtrak stop, but it's due to our barbecue festival stop on that one day. But it's ridership started at around 150, then 200 and 300. I think we're getting close to cresting over 400 riders attending on a given day. So it really means something for this community. And it's, again, I'm going to be quiet here, and we're going to need to listen to quite a few other folks, but I wanted to kind of share the idea of why it's important for us to connect to this. We've got local growth, local investment, we have government investment, we have private investment, we've created public-private partnerships, and we know what this means for the region that Lexington is in this kind of central Piedmont region. It's not just creating a rail stop for Lexington, but it's creating a stop that our sister city, Thomasville, our neighboring city, their citizens can use throughout Davidson County, the southern end of Davidson County, and then stretching to those surrounding counties. We address the safety issues that need to be done and create a project not just for us. And I want to thank everyone for being on this call, because one of the things as we reach out to the federal government and asking them for assistance to kind of help us get this over the finish line, a lot of times you look at a small community and go, man, can they really pull this off? I think it's very clear if you start looking at the high level of investment and the high level of work that's coming out of here, whether that's the creation of Edgar, whether that's the ongoing commitment and growth that Richard Childerson and RCR has within our community, to new entrepreneurs like Ashley and Brent to come to the community, and John Clowney to come back and make this major investment. We all know it's important. We want to be a part of it, and we want to be a part of the next 25 to 50 years. And that infrastructure connectivity is what's going to help this region grow. And I just wanted to share that with everyone. Tammy, I didn't know if there was anything from a technical side that you might want to add, if not, I will kind of move on, but I didn't know if there was anything you wanted to add to that.
I think you've covered everything. I do think that it is important just to know that the project itself has been a tremendous amount of work has been to prepare it. So it's not just the idea of the station. There is a lot of engineering that's taken place. There's been coordination with all of the agencies that operate and own property. We've worked closely with the Department of Transportation in all respects to make sure that all of the activities that are taking place in the area, and we have been very conservative with our planning on this, sure that it is a project that will be able to be constructed and will be very functional. So I do just want to ensure that it's not the idea of the train station out there. We've been working since 2004. We received a planning grant from the United States Department of Transportation, one of the first Tiger. And so the work has been project ready to move.
Okay. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you.
Let's move right along. I know we've got several folks that I would like to hear from, and also want to speak with us as well. And Congressman Bud, thank you again, sir, for being a part of this, and I'd love to hear from you.
Can you hear me okay, Newell?
Yes, sir.
Oh, fantastic. Hey, I appreciate you being on. This really does start in your office. a few years ago before I was even elected in 2016. And then it continued on. You became famous or infamous through a Wall Street Journal article that talked about your downtown workouts. Now, I didn't know until I was out of breath on one of those workouts that was actually a tour of the rail line here and the rail stop that you were hoping for. But it was a great overview of the community. And I appreciate that. And I'm still recovering a few years later from that. But it was great. Look, this is something that we consistently talk about. At Lexington as a whole community has been completely on point, and you've gathered a great group together today, so thanks for that. I want to reference back to a call that I had last Friday, so just a few days ago, and it was with Secretary Chow, and we spoke specifically about this. And let me sort of relay a few things that she let me know about. One, it's unique because Lexington has gone after two types of grant. Now they'll only get one, but they went after the Christie grant, which was $26.5 and change million, and then also the Build grant, which was $24.9 million. So both great things to go after. There's probably a better chance of getting the Build grant because there's actually a larger pool of money there. So she liked the fact that you all were unified and that we're all unified as a community. And she liked that I called and set up a time with her to explain this to her. She did receive the letter of support that we sent on July 16th, so that was very helpful. She also liked the fact that it was in an opportunity zone. And she really gets that, Mayor Clark, you mentioned earlier that this would be like not having access or an on-ramp or an off-ramp from an interstate and yet having a sizable town right there. So she gets that concept. She sees why it would be a great fit. She didn't say where it would end up, but she'd definitely give it strong consideration. And personally, I love not only the town of Lexington, the community, and the county of Davidson, but just the businesses that are starting to grow. Glad to have the folks from Goose and Monkey Brewery on there. Of course, did a nice tour there a few months ago, all pre-COVID, and then the Bull City Cidery. That was exciting as well. So I like what you're building. I think this would really enhance the community, be a great asset, not just to Lexington, but also to the state. And you certainly have the vision and the leadership in place. And there's just a lot of great talent on this call. I sure hope y'all aren't billing by the hour, because this is a great pool of talent here. So thank you all for being on.
Congressman, thank you, sir. And
absolutely,
it truly is to again thankful for everyone that is making those investments. And just for everyone to hear me say to you as well, and I think you've heard me say this, it's one thing for a community to ask its federal government to help us out and, hey, we need money for this. But I think a big part that we're trying to do is, hey, we are doing what we can do to the level we can in our community. And you see that investment with local businesses, and we're not waiting for that. That was my point about the chicken or the egg. We're going to go ahead and start creating a place to live, work, play, and pray is the new one that I've heard recently. And that's what you see here in Lexington. We're growing that. And so this is just that next help to get us to that next level for our citizenry and all of our citizens and surrounding, for sure. So thank you, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask Representative Potts. I know you're here on the line with us, sir. And again, you've been great in being able to secure some funds that we work towards redevelopment. And a big part of that was the big fire that we had, unfortunately, to part of the factory. And we were able to use some of those dollars to clean that up. And part of that was on the rail right of way. And we've now taken care of all of that and created some green space now for further development down there as well. But sir, I'd love to hear from you as well.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. If you can hear me, just shake your head. During my 20 years as a commissioner, I served 12 years on the Piedmont Authority for Regional Transportation. And it's evident that we cannot build our way out of the transportation problem by adding another lane to the freeway. And with each succeeding generation, their living habits, their work habits, whoever thought we could go to school or work at home 6 months ago, their transportation habits have changed. No one wants an acre lot in the country anymore. They want 50-foot lots or condos, and so this is looking further into the future than I'll be here to see the fruition of it, but I certainly support it. I had some infrastructure dollars in the budget, of course, for the depot district to run new infrastructure down there that was vetoed, but hopefully the budget process will begin work in the near future and we'll be able to obtain some dollars. But thank you for the opportunity to speak, and as always, thank you for your vision of the future, Newell.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Jarvis, I know you're on the line too, sir. Would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'm on the road to Raleigh, so I hope you can hear me okay. But
We can.
I just want to thank you for all of your leadership in this effort. I think it was probably around 10 years ago whenever I first took a look at it. And during the time I took and I said, well, if this is going to be something that we need to do, I need to do my own research. And I took the rail to DC on 2 different occasions. I said, we need to see what it's all about and see what the process could be. And I really think that Lexington, we have actually taken a proactive approach in moving forward. If you'll look back 10 years and come and then look at what we've done today, what you've done, what the businesses of Davidson County, of Lexington have done with the loft apartments, with the Uptown Lexington, with the new breweries, with the Fact Egger, all the different companies. One thing I will make note of that I have not heard a lot mentioned about, but I serve on EDC, as I know you do, and many businesses that come here, there's been a question and request as to whether we would have a rail line and be able to bring people from Charlotte, Kannapolis, Concord, to get the travel. We've got a bus line in Davidson County. We got the park bus running from Winston-Salem, like you mentioned. We've got the Davidson County buses running and have already created the avenue for which we can add a stop right there at the rail. And I think this is something that we're looking into the future. More and more of the younger generation, you see them wanting to live uptown. You want to see them live in a loft over top of a business that they own and operate. And I think this is progressive thinking, and I'm in very much support and hope that we can, I can be able to see this to fruition. Thank you so much for your leadership, and thank you, Congressman Budd, Representative Potts. Thank each and every
Okay. I think we lost him. Thank you, Mr. Jarvis. Thanks. We lost you there for a second, but we got it. Thank you, sir. We do appreciate it. Thanks for taking your time. Like I said, I know we're all busy here, and very good example there. You're in the midst of traveling, but still very committed to this project and willing to say a few words.
No problem. Go right ahead. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Fox, Michael Fox, would you like to make a few comments, sir? I'd love to hear from you as well.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Thank y'all for including me on this. As several of the folks on this call know, rail is something that, I really believe in and believe that it has a lot of opportunities. First of all, let me just say, it's always good to work with Congressman Budd on transportation projects. He does a great job representing us in DC and has been helpful on a number of, issues, from FEMA reimbursement to always fighting for, the right amount of infrastructure funding for us. So thank you, Congressman, and it's good to work with you on this. Along with our elected North Carolina reps and senators as well. I know I serve with Representative Torbett. I believe you said he was on the line on the North Carolina Virginia High Speed Rail Commission, which its ultimate goal is to promote high speed rail throughout the Southeast. So rail is important. There is, some things though that we can do in the short term, and I know Congressman Budd is working on this as well. With the COVID situation, all of us at every level of government have had a significant hit in revenue, and the legislature, our North Carolina legislature, was wise enough to set aside some $300 million in the initial emergency budget for NCDOT, which would help in all number of projects. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to access that money because the current CARES Act language does not allow any level of government to use it for revenue replacement. It has to be direct, costs related to COVID. So I know Congressman Budd and several of our senators and other representatives are working on that, but that's something that would be helpful across the board. Your timing on having this call is actually really good. I don't know if you know this or not, but we actually restarted the Piedmont rail service today. So by coincidence, your timing is great. We halted that back in May due to a variety of factors, both revenue, due to COVID, as well as safety issues. We wanted to make sure that we could have folks on that train and keep them safe. But we're resuming that service today, not a full schedule, but we hope to be able to work toward that schedule. And at NCDOT, we always love it when people want to access the rail. And that's exactly what you are talking about doing in Lexington. And, in addition to providing access to the rail, you've got another aspect that we love to see, and that is you're combining infrastructure and investment with economic development. This is a public-private partnership going forward where, you're putting some, we're all putting some public dollars into a project that will spur economic development in the private sector. And what you've got going on in downtown and what the folks have done with the brewery there, that's a great example of that. So, those projects to me, really check off all the boxes. And of course, at NCDOT, we've been supportive of this project. We wrote a letter supporting your grants. You already have won one grant. It was a long time ago, but if you recall, you won a Tiger grant, which funded some of the NEPA evaluation. So you're already a winner. We want to make you more of a winner. And we're really lucky in North Carolina. We have a unique asset that no other state has, in that we have a railroad line that runs between our major population centers from Raleigh to Charlotte. And of course, we're right smack in the middle of that in the Triad, and it goes all the way to the port at Morehead City, and that is owned by the state of North Carolina, and not many states have an asset like that. And so I've always viewed it as one of our not only our mission, but our obligation is to use that asset for the best possible use for the people of North Carolina, our citizens, our businesses, et cetera. And so I think we're lucky in that we're not in the position of just begging a big railroad company, can we tie in? We actually have some say in that because we own that rail line, and that's a great place to be. And so we're happy to be supportive, and help with your project in any way we can. And hopefully we will, I think there's a lot of possibility for not only folks coming for tourism, but folks using it as commuter rail. The world is a lot smaller these days. If we can get the level of train service up such that, you can, if you were in Charlotte or Raleigh, for example, and you could hop on early in the morning, get to the other place or somewhere in the middle, and then come back at a decent time that night and do a day's worth of business in that other city or other cities along the way, then I think our ridership just explodes. And that's one of our goals at NCDOT. And we work with our partners at Amtrak to try to provide as many trains as possible. So we're excited about this project. Your your project that you're matching with this, using that for the local match, is in our transportation plan. So that's a good sign. And those rail corridor improvement projects are critical to, you know, continuing to ensure the success of our rail line. You know, removing any opportunity we can for a car and a train to interact, because those things don't end up very well. And so those kind of grade separation projects for not only cars but for people as well are really important. So I think you've got a great project, and we're happy to support you at NCDOT, and thank you for letting me be a part of your call today.
Yes, sir, Mr. Fox. Thank you so much. And I wanted to ask Representative Torbett, I see a 704 number. I'm assuming that is his. It's been a good period of time, probably well over a year, that Mr. Torbett and I sat in Mr. Potts's office, and Mr. Torbett gave me some time to brief him on this project and what it is we're doing. But sir, if you're there, love to, if you'd like to say a few words.
Roger that. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can hear you fine.
Excellent. Hey, like Representative Jarvis, we're driving from Raleigh going back home, the great town of Stanley. First and foremost, want to thank Representative Potts, Representative Jarvis for allowing me to work with them and serve with them. You won't find two better advocates for the area, for the region. And Congressman Budd, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything you're doing. You look much beyond your district. You focus on your district, but you look for the whole people of the state. That's the kind of leadership we need in Washington right now, is to look beyond our districts and look for all of our states. It's us against the other 49 in a friendly way. Thank you for that. Hey, I'm here in the sponge mode today. Sometimes it's trying to absorb everything I can. As an update, I will tell you that the situational awareness of this project is very elevated in my mind. And if you talk to anybody that had conversations with me pre-COVID, they would have told you that this year was intended to be the year of the train. Unfortunately, with some revenue impacts due primarily to storms and some MAP Act stuff, as well as COVID hit, we're going to have to delay that. So I'm hoping we come back, if I'm fortunate to serve again next year in the same capacity, come back in 2021 and have that be the year of the train. There are so many existing assets out there that we just need to tap and bring online for people in North Carolina that can benefit the economic development, provide jobs, provide connectivity, all of that. And when you're talking about train, the lines on the ground, they are there, just need to be modified and fixed up and brought up to speed. So what better way to improve everything for the folks in North Carolina than maximizing your existing assets? So I'm going to sit back and listen. Thank you to everyone. I'm here. My door's always open, and let's just keep pushing the ball down the field. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Torbett. Thank you for taking time to be on the call. And when you get back to Gastonia, tell Councilman, tell your mayor down there that I said hello, if you don't mind.
I will do that, but let me say one thing before I cut off, and I meant to say this a minute ago, and I just absolutely forgot. I am somewhat amazed that we were into the Zoom call for a full 83 seconds, Mr. Mayor, before the word barbecue was mentioned. So we're going to have to improve on that.
Well, I will definitely have to work on that, and I'm taking down everybody's name here. We might just have to ship everybody out some barbecue for participating today. That might be the Congressman. You mentioned how we're billing everybody. We're just going to send barbecue. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Torbett. Great to hear from you. We've been talking about economic development and what it means to the region and what it means to us in Lexington, but probably no better example than that is Brent and Ashley Moore, that literally, if any of you golfers out there, as people refer to distance, they'll say, well, that's a pitching wedge away, or that's just a driver away. They are a putting distance away from rail. They are right outside their window. You can see it, and it's so dynamic. People talk about museums, but it's amazing to me. A lot of times museums are stagnant. It's to be there, the life and activity that happens when the train goes by. Everyone stops, they look up, little kids run to the window, and it's just a dynamic thing to see. But Brent and Ashley, thank y'all for being on here. And can you just share just a minute or two of what this would mean to you as a new business that has invested a tremendous amount of money. You're from this area. Ashley, I'm gonna go ahead and tell folks we went to high school together. And but we're both from Davidson County, all of us. But you're making an investment in your hometown, and just share with us briefly what this means and would mean in terms of connecting via rail.
Thank you very much, Mayor Clark, for inviting us to speak today to advocate on behalf of our future rail stop in Lexington. I'm going to go ahead and claim that because we're very excited about the future. I just hate that everyone didn't get to come down here and actually see it. Today's a really beautiful day, and I'm hoping, like anything, that a train will come by while we're sitting here. But it's so exciting to be one of the first businesses that are in the Depot District. There's a momentum here in Lexington and our community, the community here in Davidson County, and everyone is looking forward to growth and change, and to have places that we love to go visit. We chose personally to build Ghost and the Monkey here because we know how much craft breweries impact the local economics, and we know how the revitalization it will bring to communities. We chose the Depot District specifically because we already had a hope and a vision for the future rail stop. It's like having beachfront property, and we love seeing the families and the kids really appreciate it, and it's a joy to be down here. We've had so much support, even during this season of COVID. Our community has loved on us, and I think that they love the community and are all looking forward to the railroad stop. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It would be nice. I can tell where you're sitting. The train would be right over your shoulder. I'm thinking that if
we're all a little sad we aren't there too.
Exactly. I wanted to also ask. I think Michael Smith was on the line, and Michael is with Charlotte City Partners, and there he is. Good to see you, sir.
Absolutely, enjoying the conversation.
Well, I think it's probably been 8 or close to 9 years. I was a newly elected mayor the last time I saw you, and
I remember.
It was down at Shook Kelly's old office that's no longer there. But just wanted you to kind of share a little bit about your experience of as well with what this means to the your uptown core and that sort of thing in Charlotte, and just kind of what that might mean for us.
Thank you, Mayor. Pleasure to be with you, and thanks for the honor. Good to see you, Mayor Clark, and thank you, Congressman Budd and Representative Potts and Jarvis and Chairman Fox. Incredible service from all of you to our great state. I was raised in Greensboro, so I love your corridor, and glad to make the time to just share some perspective of what we see in Charlotte and the connection that we feel to everybody along this urban crescent. I think as North Carolina continues to win, I love that reference earlier that we're in battle against other states. I would say even further, we're in battle against the world. And North Carolina is winning more than its fair share. And I think the more that we knit ourselves together, the better we'll be able to compete. We had a consultant that provided some really interesting insight that when you look at the list of great cities of the 20th century, there's a high correlation with the quality of their airport. And it's his belief that the great cities of the 21st century, there will be a similar correlation to the quality of their union stations. And I think that's the opportunity that you guys are envisioning now and aspiring for. Transit is this powerful economic development tool. In Charlotte, we learned that in spades with the 18 miles of light rail, the Gateway Station, the streetcar project that we're working on now. So our Gateway Station, as you know, will sit on the Norfolk Southern line, connecting to your downtown in Lexington. And the way we've looked at the Gateway Station is that this is so much more than a transit project. And if we saw it just as transit, it would make no sense to do it. It stimulates and shapes private investment. So it brings it to the fold, and then it shapes it. It connects transportation and employment. It connects entertainment. I mean, it'll be such a great pairing for us with Truist Field and our restaurants and residents. It creates a real walk zone. We know that will be another major employment center, and it's important to be able to tap into that, and that'll be part of the opportunity that you'll be able to see in downtown Lexington. And I know you're thinking that way around this project. When we began our journey with the Gateway Station, we took a group of the Charlotte regional leaders out to the Union Station in Denver, and it was frankly so that they could see and feel the impact, because our transit investments were on a very similar path, and Denver doubled down, and they've seen billions of development that's been spurred around it. And I believe that we're going to see that kind of vibrancy around our station, and we would love to have better connectivity to Lexington so that we can come up and enjoy the uniqueness of your downtown. And we would love to be able to provide opportunity for your companies and for your workforce to be able to tap into opportunities for education and commerce with us as well.
Well, thank you, sir. Michael, I have to tell you, I've had this T-shirt now. I had a T-shirt made, and if Representative, going back to Representative Torbert's comment, I think you'll get a kick out of this, but I had a T-shirt made that said Lexington to Charlotte, and it had the Amtrak symbol kind of at the top, but it said Lexington to Charlotte, Long Island to Manhattan. What's the difference? Better barbecue. Because from a rail perspective, we're talking about the same type of travel, same amount of time. It's about a 50-minute if you were to get on and stop in Salisbury, stop in Kannapolis, next thing you know, you're going to be in Charlotte coming out of Lexington. And I very much see that connectivity happening for all of our communities. I see folks being able to as 85 continues to get busy and grow, this becomes that nice alternative. And it's something to be a part of and work on a project that as a mayor and as a representative, it's going to, one of the things we want to do is be able to work on something that's going to outlive us. And as a young man, I've never really thought a whole lot about that. And this is something that intrigues me. And it's made us all as a community very passionate about this, because it's truly the next 50 plus years of what this will mean to this entire region. But thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it. I wanted to open up the floor, and if anyone wanted to make comments, have an opportunity. I've got the list here, see if I can see if anyone raises their hands. Didn't know if Stephanie Blair wanted to make a comment at all from Senator Tillis's office, or
Sure. Yes. Thank you, Mayor. And I'm so glad I could be with you all here today virtually. Apologies, the Senator regrets that his schedule does not permit him to be here himself, but that lack of his personal presence does not in any way symbolize his priority on this project and how much he cares about this. He has been having conversations, not only he, but our policy staffers have been having multiple conversations as recent as last week with those stakeholders, both at the federal level as well as other stakeholders, to make sure that they know that this is something that is a priority for the senator. I think we've heard it. This is huge for the community. It's important not just for Lexington, but it's going to touch so many different areas here in the Triad, in the Piedmont region. And so really looking forward to hearing some good news, hopefully. And I think, like was referenced at the beginning by Helena, it's hopefully get down there soon to cut a ribbon and things like that. So.
Well, thank you so much, and thanks for being on for the senator. Pass along hello from all of us here, and thank you for all the service that you're doing, but also for the senator as well. We do appreciate, as we've continued to talk, and I know the senator said that this is a priority for him, and we've heard the same from Senator Burr as well. I did again want to kind of look at our participant list. If you can, anyone that did want to make a comment before we kind of open it up for any Q&A, if we might have it, but just want to make sure anyone that did want to make a comment. So I don't see any hands raised necessarily. I did see another name that was on here. Mr. Joe Wallace is on here. He is the executive director of Lexington's Chamber of Commerce, and I know he wanted, and we asked him to be on to listen as well and representing our business community. So, Joe, thank you for being on the call. But with all of us here, yes, sir. Thank you. I did know that the Congressman had to step off. He had a meeting he had to get to, so we want to thank him for as much time as he did give us. But we're right at our time that we kind of put together there at 3:30. But I did want to take a moment, and any questions that anyone might have of Lexington, and if you do, I can direct them to Tammy. But no, be glad to answer anything or any insight or thoughts. So did want to take a moment and see if
I'm clapping, Mayor. This is Larry Potts. You know,
yes,
I'm clapping.
Say that again.
You know, I am clapping. You know what that means?
What's that?
When you start to speak, I always clap.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can tell everyone what that is, that I'm being brief. That's what he's clapping for. Anytime, usually when I go to speak, I introduce myself and Larry starts clapping. For sure. I did want to, Mr. Patterson is on the line from RCR. If he would, and I don't know if he'd like to make a comment in terms of the importance of connectivity to this rail for RCR. And I know that Gerald is on as well with Edgar. But Mr. Patterson, you don't have to, sir, but didn't know if you wanted to say a few words.
Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you fine.
Good. First off, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this. Mr. Childress sent his apologies. He had planned to personally be on here instead of me. And as you all well know, things happen fast at RCR, and something came up he had to take care of. But it is definitely going to be an important project and a big asset to this area. I think, of course, everyone's familiar with what we're involved in with the winery and the race shop and our museum. And surprisingly enough, RCR is more of a tourist attraction than some people realize. We have people from all over the country who simply want to come and see the race shop. And this could be such an asset to us of bringing people in and giving them a convenient way to get to this area. Of course, we've got the Bob Timberlakes of the world here in Lexington that are also a huge draw. Of course, you've elaborated on the barbecue festival. But primarily the thing I see is the availability of additional labor coming into this area at an affordable way of getting them here. In the past, as you mentioned, we have actually had our own vans transport our employees from the Kannapolis, Charlotte area so that we could get the quality of workers we were looking for into the race shop. And this would be just fabulous. And I don't know exactly how Edgar feels, but I'm sure it is bound to be a big impact on them as well. And really appreciate everything that you're doing. As you said, we've been friends a long time, and you're doing a great job. Really appreciate it. Appreciate all the representatives and congressmen.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Always great to hear your voice, sir. And I appreciate that perspective from Mr. Childress. And again, pass along a thank you to him. I'm going to text him when we get off and tell him we just appreciate all they're doing. But thank you, sir, for being here and sharing that information with us.
My pleasure.
Yes, sir. Gerald, I see you, sir. Would you like to say a few words for Edgar?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to all the guys involved in this. Very interesting project. We as a big employer, we will reach soon the 300 employee number. I highly appreciate public transportation. I'm from Austria and I used it for a couple of years, either bus or train, and I really think after a 12-hour shift, it's very nice to go on a bus, to go on a train, not to jump in the car and either on the I-85 or on the other roads to drive home. So from our point of view, very interesting, and we highly support this project. There's, I think, really a train station here in Lexington, so close to our facility, would be really beneficial for our employees. Bringing here employees as well-trained employees, but also think after the job, they would appreciate, to sit on a train and go or commute relaxed home and not take a car. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Helena, Tammy, was there anything else you wanted to add? But Helena, if as well, I'm going to turn it back over to you, and thank you again, and Lauren and your team for all that you're doing with Build Together. It's that's again, thank you to everyone. Wonderful comments as well to me, but I tell everyone it's not even remotely me. It is a huge team. Representative Potts and I have worked on numerous projects, and we don't get it done by ourselves. And like I said, I'm constantly talking and reaching out to him, and he's helped. And then we just continue to grow that. Tammy, our staff, has just been at this for so long, and they understand it, and they understand the importance of safety and what this means. We have our business partners that are very much committed to this, and it just continues to grow out as a team, and that's where we're going to have success with this. And if nothing else, Lexington's not you can clearly see we're not just asking for a depot stop. We're talking about something that's going to benefit a lot of people, and you can already see it on the call. It's not just 2 or 3 of us. This is a huge group effort. So Helen, thank you very much. I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Yeah, absolutely, Mayor. Thank you. I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. Could not have said it better. This isn't just about transportation, and it's not just about asking for a handout, right? You all have laid the foundation and done so much, everything within your power, right, to set the stage for targeted investment now to just spur growth, recreation, tourism, everything, right? The list goes on. It's not just about transportation. Although to hear that, some phenomenal employers are having to send cargo vans out to pick up, high-skilled employees, that's crazy. That's crazy. But you guys are doing all you can to improve that situation, and it just feels like it's right around the corner. You guys have laid the foundation. So just a credit to you all. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. There's nothing I could add, to build upon what the mayor has just said, except just a big thank you and just to commend you all. As I said at the outset, we're kind of building this coalition across the country and elevating projects just like this across the country, but you all have figured it out. But as the mayor just said, no one can do it alone. One dynamic mayor, one dynamic congressman, right? Not going to do it. But the fact that you all have joined together and you remain committed to this project, that's what will get it done. So consider us a partner as well. Anything we can do to help to lift up this story. I don't know, how quickly can we, cut that ribbon and get out to that brewery and get out to that festival, Mr. Mayor? What do you think?
I can have the gold shovels ready tomorrow, and Larry knows where I can get them. To break the ground. And one person I want to say that's on this call is Kyle Bridges from Congressman Budd's office. Yeah. He has been an absolute champion and helped put this together. This was actually a conversation we were having, and he said, hey, we got to get these folks together. And I can't say enough for him and his one is his friendship and just listening to me go on and on about what we need to do, but he's on the line, and want to thank him for bringing this all together.
Absolutely. No, we just echo that, and credit to you as well. Don't sell yourself short, Mayor. You're a phenomenal advocate, and everyone that's on the line here. So just a big thanks to everyone. And with that, thank you for your time and your commitment to this project and leading by example. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yep. Take care.
Thank you.